All right, so have you ever, like, really worked hard at something,
Yeah.
poured your heart and soul into it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get totally outshined by someone who, like, just makes it look effortless? It
Totally.
makes you wonder if you're just not one of those, like, naturally gifted people, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, good news, because today
Yeah.
we are diving deep into this whole world of grit
Okay.
and why we might actually be like the secret weapon you've been missing this whole time.
I like it.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel for more deep dives like this one where we like unpack these fascinating topics.
That's right.
Yeah, so
We're talking about grit today.
we are talking all about grit.
And we've got this incredible book by Angela Duckworth.
Yeah.
Grit, the power of passion and perseverance.
The power of passion and perseverance.
So we're going to pull out some of those like golden nuggets from the book
Yeah.
to help you understand why grit matters,
Uh-huh.
how it works,
Okay.
and then how you can cultivate more of it in your own life.
It's going to be good.
I think what's so interesting about Duckworth's approach is how she starts with her own story.
Right.
She talks about her dad, who
Yeah.
was very focused on intelligence and genius.
Oh, wow.
I mean, he even compared her to Einstein.
That's a lot of pressure.
Can you imagine?
Oh, my God.
Talk about pressure.
Oh, yeah.
But it raises an important point.
It does.
Why are we so fixated on this idea of talent
Right.
in the first place?
Yeah.
Duckworth argues that this fascination with what she calls naturals
Okay.
actually lets us off the hook.
What do you mean?
Because if success is all about some magical talent
Right.
that you're born with,
Yeah.
then
When it's not your fault.
it's not really your fault if you don't have it right.
It's like that fixed mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why even bother trying if I wasn't given the gift, right?
Totally.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
She takes us straight to West Point
Okay.
to start debunking that whole talent is everything myth.
Okay. I'm ready.
Now, West Point,
Yeah.
they're known for attracting some of the, like,
Right. Yes.
brightest, most accomplished
Yeah.
young minds in the country.
Right. Like top athletes,
Athletes.
academic stars.
We're talking cream of the crop here.
Yeah.
And yet, despite all that talent, a surprising number of cadets drop out.
Really?
Some even during that brutal first summer of training.
What is that?
They call it beast barracks.
Oh, my God.
Beast barracks.
That sounds intense.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
But here's the kicker.
Okay.
Duckworth found that it wasn't necessarily a lack of talent that sent those cadets packing.
Interesting.
She developed this thing called the grit scale
Okay.
to measure this combination of passion and perseverance.
Got it.
And guess what?
Yep.
Those who scored higher on the grit scale were significantly more likely to make it through beast barracks.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
So you're telling me it's not enough to just show up with a certain level of talent?
Right?
You need something more to survive that kind of, like, crucible.
You need something more. You got it.
Interesting.
And it wasn't just West Point.
Oh, okay.
She found the same pattern across all sorts of fields.
Interesting.
From spelling bees to sales.
Uh-huh.
Time and again, the most successful individuals weren't just talented.
Right.
They were also incredibly hardworking
Okay.
and resilient,
They had to keep going.
even when faced with setbacks.
Yeah, I'm starting to rethink this whole idea of success.
No, me too.
What does she mean by effort counts twice?
Okay, so this is where it gets really fascinating.
Yeah, okay.
She lays out this equation.
Okay.
Talent times effort equals skill.
Got it.
Then skill times effort equals achievement.
So effort is the multiplier.
Effort's like the secret sauce.
Wow.
It's not just about reaching a certain level.
Yeah.
It's about that constant striving to improve.
So you could have less raw talent, but if you have a ton of grit,
Right.
you could actually outperform someone who's like naturally gifted but doesn't put in the work.
That's exactly what she's saying.
That's amazing.
And she uses this great analogy
Okay.
from Olympic swimmer Dan Chambliss.
Okay.
Chambliss argued that greatness isn't some mystical, unattainable thing.
Yeah.
It's simply a series of small, achievable feats
Okay.
strung together over time.
It's like consistency and dedication just showing up.
Showing up, putting in the work day after day.
That makes so much sense.
Doesn't it?
I can see how that applies to anything,
Right.
not just sports.
Anything you're trying to achieve.
Didn't you say earlier that Americans actually value hard work more than intelligence?
That's right.
Interesting.
There are all these fascinating surveys that show that Americans tend to admire hard work more than just raw smarts,
Huh.
both in academics and athletics.
But it's like, we know we should be doing something,
Yeah.
but we just can't help but get
Wow.
distracted or
I know exactly what you mean.
procrastinate.
Even though we say we value hard work,
Mm-hmm.
we're still drawn to those naturals.
Yeah, we are.
Like there's this study where musicians judged natural pianists as more successful,
Wow.
even though they consciously believed that effort was more important.
That's wild.
It's a total disconnect
Yeah.
between what we believe and how we actually behave.
Yeah. So we admire the hard work,
We do.
but there's still that part of us that's just in awe of
I know.
those who just make it look easy.
It's a fascinating paradox.
It is.
And it speaks to how deeply ingrained this cultural fascination with natural talent really is.
Yeah.
But remember those equations that Duckworth laid out?
Yeah.
They highlight that talent is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
It's what you do with that talent that truly matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where grit comes in.
Okay.
That's where the magic happens.
I'm ready for more.
And that brings us to one of like the most liberating ideas in this book.
Okay.
The idea that passion isn't something you just like stumble upon, it's
Wow.
something you cultivate.
Okay.
You don't have to wait for that magical moment
Yeah.
or that lightning strike of inspiration.
No.
You know what I mean?
So many people get stuck in that idea
Totally.
of finding their one true passion.
Yeah.
Like it's this treasure they have to unearth.
Right. It's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But really, it's more of a journey. It's a
And-
process of
Yeah.
discovery and development.
That's good because I think so many times I've tried something new
Yeah.
and I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And then it just fizzles out.
Yeah.
And maybe I wasn't giving it enough time.
I think that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Duckworth talks about how the early years are all about exploration,
Okay.
trying different things,
Yeah.
seeing what resonates with you. And
Right.
then as you gain more experience and clarity,
Uh-huh.
you can start to deepen that passion through deliberate practice. It's
Yeah.
almost like falling in love and then staying in love.
Right.
You have that initial spark, the excitement of something new.
Yeah.
But the real magic happens when you commit to nurturing that passion over time.
That makes sense. Right. I can see how that would work.
What about those people who just seem to know what they want to do
Oh, yeah.
from a very young age?
Like the kid who's coding at 5 or
Exactly.
playing Mozart on the piano.
Right.
Yeah.
Even those individuals who seem like naturals often have a long history of deliberate practice behind them.
Interesting.
Duckworth talks about this Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, Jeff Gettleman.
Okay.
Now, he started out studying philosophy.
Okay.
Then his travels sparked an interest in East Africa.
Okay.
He honed his photography skills
Wow.
before ultimately finding his voice as a writer.
So it wasn't a straight path?
It was a winding journey of exploration and growth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So even those seemingly predestined paths
Right.
are more about passion and perseverance than just raw talent.
I think so.
That makes me feel a lot better about my career path.
I know, me too.
That's good.
And this brings us to another crucial piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Deliberate practice.
Okay, let's talk about it.
It's not just about mindlessly putting in the hours.
Right.
It's about focused, intentional effort
Okay.
with constant feedback.
So you can see how to improve.
Exactly. So you can identify those areas for improvement and push yourself to that next level.
Okay, now we're getting into it. I can see how this ties together.
Yeah.
You need that underlying passion
Yeah.
to fuel your efforts.
It's like the fuel.
right.
And then you need that laser-focused, deliberate practice
Uh-huh.
to actually develop the skills that will lead to achievement.
Okay. I get it.
Uh,
What does that look like?
Okay, so Duckworth gives some great examples.
Give me some examples.
Like, think about those spelling bee champions.
Okay.
They don't just passively stare at dictionaries, right?
No.
They use specific techniques
Okay.
to study words,
Like what?
breaking them down
Okay.
into roots, prefixes, suffixes,
Wow.
looking for patterns.
That's interesting.
And then you have, like, basketball superstar Kevin Durant,
Oh, come
who
on.
spends hours refining tiny aspects of his game.
Like what?
His footwork, his release point,
That's intense.
right?
Not exactly fun.
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
Gritty people seem to find more enjoyment in deliberate practice.
Really?
It's not always easy,
Right.
but they derive satisfaction
Okay.
from the challenge, from that process of pushing themselves and seeing those incremental improvements.
So it's about enjoying the process.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how this could apply to like anything.
Me too.
Whether you're an athlete, a musician, an entrepreneur, or even like a podcast host.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The principles are universal.
Right.
And here's another layer.
Okay.
purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Duckworth found that gritty people often connect their efforts to something bigger than themselves.
Right. It's not just about personal achievement. It's about making a difference.
That's it.
I feel like I've definitely been more motivated and engaged in projects
Yeah.
when I can see how my work is contributing to something meaningful.
It's so powerful.
Yeah.
Duckworth uses this great example of bricklayers. One might just see their job as laying bricks,
Okay.
while another sees themselves as building a cathedral.
Wow.
It's the same task,
Yeah.
but the sense of purpose transforms the entire experience.
So it's about finding that deeper meaning in your work.
I think so.
What if you're stuck in a job that doesn't feel very purposeful?
That's a great question.
Can you still cultivate grit?
Well, Duckworth believes
Okay.
that even seemingly mundane jobs can become purposeful.
Really?
She talks about this engineer, Joe Leader,
Okay.
who started with this simple fascination with subways.
Okay.
But over time, he began to see the profound impact his work had on people's lives,
Right.
connecting communities, making transportation more efficient,
Yeah.
and that transformed his job into a lifelong passion.
Wow.
It's about finding that connection to something larger than yourself,
Right.
even in the seemingly ordinary.
So it's not about finding your dream job.
Right.
It's more about cultivating that sense of purpose in what you do.
That's
Finding that why that fuels your passion and perseverance.
Yeah, you got it.
So what about our environment?
Oh, that's a good question.
Does that play a part in developing grit?
Duckworth argues that it absolutely does.
Okay.
Our environment, the people around us, they have a huge impact on our development,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to grit.
Now this is making me think about all the extracurricular activities we do with our kids.
Okay.
Is there a connection there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Duckworth found that extracurricular activities,
Mhm.
especially when pursued for more than a year,
Right.
can be a fantastic training ground for grit.
Interesting.
They provide structure, challenge, and support,
Yeah.
which helps kids develop those crucial passion and perseverance muscles.
So it's not just about like scoring goals in soccer practice.
No.
It's about learning to overcome setbacks, working as a team,
Right.
and dedicating yourself to something long term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the benefits extend far beyond the soccer field. You know, they teach these valuable life lessons that can be applied to any domain.
So it helps them develop a sense of purpose.
Exactly.
Learn to manage their time.
Right.
And build resilience in the face of challenges.
You got it.
But it's not just about parents, is it?
No.
Teachers and mentors can also play a role.
Huge role.
Yeah.
Duckworth highlights this importance of creating what she calls a culture of grit,
Okay.
an environment where effort, resilience, and teamwork are valued.
That makes sense.
She points to the Seattle Seahawks and their head coach, Pete Carroll,
Okay.
as a prime example.
Right.
Carroll has instilled a culture of competition, hard work, and a relentless pursuit of excellence,
Oh.
which has really contributed to the team's success.
So it's about surrounding yourself
Yes,
with people who embody those gritty values,
totally.
whether it's your family, your teammates, or your colleagues at work.
You got it.
Yeah,
Culture is contagious,
it is.
and a gritty environment can inspire you
Yeah.
to push yourself further.
Even when things are tough.
Exactly. It's like having that support system,
Yeah.
encouraging you to embrace challenges and keep striving.
Okay, this is all making so much sense.
Good.
It's not just about talent.
It's so much more.
It's about passion, perseverance, purpose,
Yeah,
and the power of our environment.
that's,
It's about cultivating that inner drive
yeah,
and surrounding yourself with people who support you.
I love it.
But is there any downside to being too gritty?
That's a great question.
Like what happens when you push yourself too hard?
Right.
Never let go of a goal or refuse to admit defeat?
That's a good point.
When does grit cross the line
Yeah.
and become something unhealthy?
That's something I want you to think about
Okay.
as you reflect on what we talked about today.
Okay.
That's a thought-provoking question.
It is.
It gets at the heart of balance.
Right.
When does a strength become a liability?
Yeah.
When do we need to learn to let go?
Like I can imagine someone who's so fixated on a goal that they neglect their health or their relationships.
Or their family.
Or maybe they just keep banging their head against the wall,
Oh, yeah.
pursuing a path that's clearly not working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a difference between perseverance and stubbornness.
That's true.
Grit is about having that long-term vision,
Right.
but it's also about being adaptable.
Oh,
Knowing when to course correct.
Yeah.
Having that wisdom to
Yeah.
discern when to push through
yeah.
and when to pivot.
You need to have that self-awareness to make sure your grit isn't leading you down a rabbit hole.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And this idea of balance reminds me of Duckworth's point.
Okay.
about the potential downsides of praising talent over effort.
Oh, yeah.
If we constantly tell kids they're smart or gifted,
Uh-huh.
it can create a fear of failure.
Right.
They might be afraid to try new things or challenge themselves.
Because they don't want to lose that label.
Exactly.
Right.
Because they don't want to jeopardize their smart label.
If your identity is tied to being talented,
Right.
any setback can feel like a threat to your whole sense of self.
Exactly.
Right.
And this is where a growth mindset comes in.
Okay.
If you believe that intelligence and abilities can be developed
Yeah.
through effort and learning,
Right.
then setbacks become opportunities
Yeah.
for growth rather than threats to your ego.
So you're less likely to give up when things get tough.
Exactly.
Because you believe you can improve.
You got it.
So it's not just about being gritty.
It's about the mindset.
It's about having that belief
Yes.
that you can learn and grow.
And Duckworth highlights research that shows
Yeah.
how praising effort and learning,
Yeah.
rather than just natural talent,
Right.
can help kids develop that growth mindset.
That's so important.
It's about encouraging them to see mistakes as stepping stones,
Yeah.
rather than roadblocks.
This makes me think about all the times I've avoided trying something new
Uh-huh.
because I was afraid of looking foolish
Right.
or failing. Maybe I need to reframe my thinking.
I think so.
Embrace those beginner moments as opportunities to learn and grow.
It's all about learning.
Yeah.
Remember those fragile perfects Duckworth describes?
Oh, what are those?
Those are the ones who've always excelled,
Oh.
never really faced setbacks,
Yeah.
and then they just crumble when they encounter their first real challenge.
I don't have that resilience muscle.
They haven't built it up.
Right.
And Duckworth emphasizes the importance of creating environments
Yeah.
where it's safe to fail,
Right.
to learn from your mistakes,
Yeah.
and to try again.
Okay.
It's about fostering that culture of growth and resilience.
So it's not just about individual grit.
Right.
It's about creating supportive environments
Yes,
where people feel encouraged to take risks,
That's
to
right.
learn and to grow.
absolutely.
It's about creating a space where it's okay to make mistakes, to
Totally.
learn and grow.
That brings us back to your question
Yeah.
about the downsides of being too gritty. Like, if we're not careful, that pursuit of excellence
Yeah.
can become isolating or
Mhm.
even counterproductive.
So there's a point where we need to step back
Yes.
and reassess.
Reassess, adjust our course, maybe.
It's like anything else in life.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be balance.
Analysis key.
We need that grit to fuel our progress, but
Yeah.
keep us going when things get tough.
Absolutely.
But we also need the wisdom to know when to ease up,
Yes.
when to ask for help,
Right.
or even when to let go
When to walk away.
of a goal that's no longer serving us.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah?
where passion and perseverance
Uh-huh.
are balanced with self-awareness, flexibility,
Right.
and a healthy perspective on failure.
It's about embracing the journey
The whole journey.
with all the twists and turns.
the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And continuing to learn and grow along the way.
This has been an amazing deep dive
I agree.
into the world of grit.
So insightful.
It really has.
It's made me rethink a lot of things.
Me too. I'm walking away with so much to think about.
And remember, grit isn't fixed.
Okay.
It's something we can cultivate and strengthen over time.
That's good.
So embrace those challenges. Stay curious and keep pushing toward those goals.
You got this.
You got this.
And hey, if you're ready for more deep dives into these fascinating topics,
Yes.
make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel.
We've got so much more coming your way,
We do.
all designed to help you learn, grow, and unlock your full potential.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that grit burning bright.
See you on the next episode.